Hey there again. We are now going to talk about the other types of acoustic guitars. Let's start with this beautiful Gibson L5. This is an acoustic electric guitar. You can see here 4 knobs, 2 for the volume and 2 for the tone for both pickups. The L5 is the first Archtop with F holes. This one is not the first series of L5, it's just a re-edition. The first series was, by the way, only acoustic and appeared in 1922. Amplified Archtop guitars come way after in 1936 with the ES100 and 50 you can see here. It was notably played by the first electric guitar virtuoso, Charlie Christian. So basically, what's an Archtop guitar? It's a steel string guitar with an Archtop and an Archtback. Pretty straightforward. Most of the time, Archtop guitars rhyme with F holes. I say most of the time because the first Archtop, for example, like the ones designed by Orville Gibson, its creator, didn't have any. As you can see here, there's a trapeze tailpiece at the guitar rear. Sometimes it's also replaced by Bixby vibrato, like on this scratch. On acoustic Archtop guitars, you won't find any stop-tail bridge, like the one made for Les Paul electric guitars. Simply because it would break the instrument as it's more fragile than an Archtop electric guitar. That's why trapeze tailpieces or Bixby vibrato are more favored. The bridge can be moved to and fro, really useful in case you need to readjust an always out-of-tune guitar, or if you have to change the gauge. You can also remark that it has 6 strings. Again, this is the standard. The body is starting at the 14th fret and there's no cutaway on this one. You can find cutaway or non-cutaway versions for a lot of models. As for the sound, if you're a jazz player, this is a really good guitar for you. You can also play country or early rock and roll from the 50s or 60s, like Chet Atkins or Eddie Cochran. It's not a good guitar for heavy stuff such as metal or hard rock, but if you have to play pop rock like U2 for example, it can be worth a try. Now let's move on to Resonator guitars. They have been created at a time where guitars needed to sound louder to be heard ahead of the band in the 1920s. The electric pickup had not been invented at this time. John DePiero and George Beecham came up with that idea, and indeed, this idea was a great idea. It sounded louder. Now you can choose between 2 types of resonator guitars, the round neck and the square neck. The latter is usually played on your laps, like a lap steel guitar. On the other hand, the round neck is played like a normal guitar. This one is a dobro style made by Regal. A dobro style is a guitar body with a single cone resonator. In fact, dobro name comes from the contraction of the DePiero brother, the inventors. But let's switch to a better picture to really see what's going on here. This is the standard dobro guitar body. So you can see a big metal cover plate replacing the usual sound hole on an acoustic guitar. What you cannot see is what is below the cover. Let's take a look. Alright, we have removed the cover plate. What we can see now is a single cone spider resonator. This one has been made by Hohner, and it's inverted compared to the other resonator guitars. As a result, the sound is kinda nasal and is particularly loved by bluegrass players. The sound of a dobro style guitar is perfect for bluegrass or country. It can also be great for blues, but an entire metal body is often preferred for that genre. Talking about metal bodies, take a look at this resonator guitar. This is the first of a long series. It's the Tricone style invented and built by National. This body is entirely made of metal. If you wonder who came up with that idea, again, it was John DePiero and George Beecham. If we zoom in, we can actually see why it's called a tricone. Beneath the cover plate, which by the way resembles a Decepticon I think, you notice the three metallic cones placed side by side. Okay, maybe it's hard to see, so we remove the cover plate. There you go. This is another guitar, but it's what we could observe inside. The thing you can see in the middle is actually a bridge. You will also notice 6 notches. That's where the strings will go. Let's get back to the previous picture. A lot of metal guitars are made of steel, but it's probably German silver here, as it was very popular back then. Now it's very rare and pretty costly. However, you can come across a variety of national style guitars, either made of brass, steel, with nickel coating, or German silver like this one. Do you love playing blues with a bottleneck? Then this guitar's made for you. Beware though, the 3 cones don't mean it would sound louder than dobro or biscuit style guitar. Actually it won't. But a lot of guitarists prefer the tone of their Tricone style. However, they're often more expensive than the other Resonator guitars. Now, take a look at this biscuit style made by Continental. Very similar to Tricone, but this time only 1 cone inside. As I said before, it's less expensive than a Tricone, but also louder and more aggressive. Again, if you're a blues player, you will love it. Now, let's move on to lap steel acoustic guitars. If you followed what I've said a bit earlier, square neck resonators can be played on your laps. Does that mean it's a lap steel? Yes, it is. In general, electric lap steel guitars are more common than their acoustic brothers, and they were in fact more popular than normal guitar back in the 1920s, due to Hawaiian music bursting out everywhere. But still, there are several types of acoustic lap steel like the square neck Resonator guitars, or this one, which is in fact a Weissenborn or Weissenborn. Quite a small instrument, but still bigger than a ukulele. 18th fret on this one, usually made of koa. It's most of the time played like many lap steel acoustic guitars with a bottleneck, a thumb and some fingerpicks. The sound is quite nasal, but can also feel ethereal when playing high notes. Great for bluegrass, country and one-man bands. Okay, we're almost through. Check out this acoustic guitar. Can you tell the difference between this and a basic steel string acoustic guitar? Yeah, 12 strings. Let's take a closer look. There you go. In fact, the only difference between a traditional steel string guitar and this one is that we doubled every 6 strings. The lower 3 or 4 strings are in general tuned 1 octave higher. The 2 or 3 others are tuned in unison. This is what will give you this beautiful sparkle sound specific to 12-string acoustic guitars, and this is why people love them. Yeah, even the double mind twins. Okay, that's all for this unit and for this lesson. I hope it has been useful to you and that you can see more clearly among the different acoustic guitars available on the market. If you want more, don't hesitate to contact me and request a lesson. See you later, guitar player.